Everyone is excited to see you. Welcome. We have Rascal Flatts here who have a lot going on. We've got an album out last Friday. We are launching a lot of summer festival dates. You have a Vegas residency launching this fall. It's good to be busy, I guess,
and
right?
sleep at the end of the year.
Yeah. Schedule that for sometime in December. Let's go back to where Back to Us started. You guys kind of took a little bit of time off after last year's Christmas record, reevaluated what you wanted to do. Tell me about those conversations and what you guys were looking to sort of hit the reset button on.
Well, I don't know. We kind of got to the place to where we were like, you know, this is going to be the 10th album. What do we do next? What do we say? Because, you know, when you're at a point where you've done so many records and you've said so many things and done so many different types of songs, it's kind of hard to figure out where you want to go next. And then as we started to talk about it and we started to hear some songs, it started to kind of sink in that, you know, we were kind of at the point to where we're like, do we follow trends on radio and keep chasing after things, or do we just come back full circle to what we started with to begin with and be okay in our own skin?
Okay.
And that's kind of where we are now. We're okay being Rascal Flatts, you know. We're okay being who we are. I think people expect a certain thing from us when we put a record out, we put a song out. And so we tried to capitalize on all the elements that people fell in love with to begin with and see if we could concentrate on those and sort of trim some of the fat and do away with some of the things that we may have chased or tried that didn't work out so well for us.
Was there any one song in particular that you guys heard, or you guys even all three share a writing credit on one of the songs here, that sort of kicked this process off?
I think I would say Yours If You Want It was one of the first ones we cut, and we had about 4 songs in that first batch. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was so much fun, and we were so re-energized, and it felt like we were back in the studio doing the first record because it was the 3 of us. We were in there creating together, and it was just, it's sort of happened so organically that it was just like, man, this is what we need to be doing.
Do you guys ever have a difference of opinion of direction? Like what you were just saying, it took us a while to get to where we're cool with being Rascal Flatts. Like, is it everybody's kind of working in the same direction? Where does the butting of the heads or any of that sort of happen?
Usually songs, you know, most of the time that we all pretty much hear something and we'll hear a melody or we'll hear a lyric and we'll go, God, that's just right down the middle. But yeah, there's certain times that the 3 of us have, you know, I mean, we're 3 individuals, so we have individual opinions. And but you know, with us, the best song wins. It doesn't matter if we wrote it or not. And but yeah, once in a while there's one that those guys love and I don't, or I love and they don't.
And luckily, they all decided to listen to me this time, and it was fantastic.
Yeah,
this record's great. So
we did everything Jay wanted. So we're fantastic.
So here we are.
Well, you actually were in charge in some ways. You produced this record.
Well, it was at my house, so I had to produce. Yeah.
We're going to call it Back to Jay's, not Back to Us, but Back to Jay's.
But let's talk about that decision. I mean, you've produced for a ton of people over the years, Kix Brooke, Reba McEntire, I mean, tons.
Yeah.
What was it like when you guys started thinking about taking that responsibility, giving it to him, or finding an outside producer?
You know what's funny?
Painful.
He was
no.
Yeah.
That's my cousin, folks.
I think putting the producer hat on, he's a lot more chill and actually a lot nicer to be around.
Okay. You like that.
Did you get that? No.
Yeah.
No, Jay's really grown as a producer. He's just incredible. And his ideas...
so sweet.
They're endless. You know, he comes up with a bunch. And so some of my favorite moments are just working with he and I, just doing guitar parts, just a little verse, melodies. Because he's got a great propensity to be able to like sing a solo. Because he's like a 80s rock, you know, lover.
God.
So like,
I'm an 80s rock god.
Play something like this. And something like that, and I'll be like, okay, cool. Now, let me find it first.
Sing it again.
Right.
And so his singable melodies are just great to apply to guitar. So we had a lot of fun together.
Was there anything challenging about wearing both hats?
Yeah, there's always challenging. I mean, you know, Gary hated everything that I suggested, so no. No, being in the band and producing the band is very, very difficult because I have certain ways that I hear things as a producer that I want it to come out in the finished product. But at the same time, I'm in a band with 2 very valid opinions that I have to give credence to and listen to what their thoughts are.
You're daggone right, buddy.
Yeah. And I also have to sort of just get out of the way and let the song be the song instead of trying to do too much, be too cool for school. At the end of the day, Gary's wonderful vocal is what sells anything, and nobody gives a crap about a mandolin part. At the end of the day, it's Gary and our vocal blend, and so it's very tough to be in the band and outside of it at the same time, or at least try to be.
Right. Now that you're on this end of this, you know, record's out, the process is over. Would you guys do this again?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it was just so fun to get in and create and just have the time to go in and just see whatever happened, you know. And it was we had a great time, and you know, it's something though when the three of us get in a room and really put our musician hats on and songwriter hats and really create and make things happen. Wonderful things seem to come out at the end.
Do you guys go into the studio with every song fully formed, or is it a little bit looser? You're kind of like writing while recording, working songs out that way?
Question.
We do a little bit of pre-production because I like to track with some inspiration. So it's nice to sit down with you know, like a rig and kind of do a little bit of tracks to track to. But then we'll arrange. Yeah.
Like you said, the vocal is what sells it.
See?
How easy it works.
And then, but then we'll do some arranging on the fly if we feel like we need another half chorus or we need to extend the solo section or whatever. I mean, we leave it open. It's wide open.
Right. You talked about this a little bit in the beginning, but Rewind, your last collection of original material, was pretty experimental, especially for longtime fans of the group. Did you guys say that didn't feel right, or did you just say we're ready to kind of go back to like the year like 2000 when we were working on all those harmonies?
We were in a different place then. We started that project in 2012.
Right.
We were all on drugs.
Right.
So it was.
It's a California thing.
Yeah.
California thing. No, but we went out to L.A. We really did, and recorded with Howard Benson, and he's a fantastic producer, and took a chance and just did some things we'd never tried before, and had a blast with him. And then Jay, we went back to Nashville and finished out the album, like 6 tracks, I think, with Jay.
7.
7.
But who's
There's a couple
counting?
of bonus tracks. No, but we got what off that we got was Rewind was a #1, and then I liked the sound of that. Our last single was a #1, and that was the stuff we did at Jay's house, the last part of the project, and it felt like, well, what we did there, we should take on into the studio again for Back to Us. It just felt good, and at that time too, we're still putting on songs on hold and writing as much as we could between 2015ish and to today.
And it wasn't that we weren't proud of that record. We were just in a place to where we, you know, when you've been around a long time and you see people coming up and having success, you start to kind of second guess yourself a little bit and go, maybe we should try some of that, or maybe we should do that. But I feel like if you do something that's not authentic, your fans that are true fans will see straight through it.
Yeah. I mean, you guys debuted 17 years ago. You've seen country music and country radio go through a lot of trends. And you talked a little bit about this, but how hard is it to sort of resist saying, here's what's working really well on radio, we need one radio song? How do you balance all of that sort of pressure?
Well, you know, it just I thought, you know, like Jay was saying, you just got to stay true to yourself, you know, and everybody can see through it if it's like, and there's nothing wrong with trying it, but you find out pretty quick if it works or not, you know, and a lot of times it's like, you know, if it's not broke, you know, then why try to fix it? So, but it takes some swings and some misses to get back on track, you know.
Yeah. So the record came out Friday. You did a release show in Nashville. Do you guys still get nervous on release day, or is it kind of like you're just happy to sort of push it out the door at that
I
point?
don't sleep a wink.
Okay.
I'm on iTunes checking out all the reviews. This album sucks. It's the worst piece of crap known to mankind. Please stop putting out music.
That's what keeps you inspired.
Rascal Flatts should die. I have to turn it off eventually.
Yeah, you have to turn it off. Don't read the
I'm
comments.
like, wow, Mom,
That's
a little harsh, don't you think?
I thought it was
Yeah.
pretty good.
It bought you a house.
Yeah.
Sorry you hate it.
You guys are all doing well.
Did you write one of those
Yeah,
reviews?
that was me.
that you?
That's why I took this job.
Thanks, Madison. Good looking out.
Let's talk a little bit about what we're hearing specifically on the record. We mentioned the 80s actually even earlier. There is a lot of sort of 80s pop gloss on some of these songs. You know, Vandalized, I think about. Roller Rink, which is on the deluxe edition, I think about.
Yeah.
Where did that kind of come from? I mean, you all grew up in the 80s.
Right.
It came from what we grew up on and listened to, and the 80s have come back in such a massive way. You know, Bruno Mars record could have been made in 1986. I mean, it's just so great to be able to paint with all of those textures again with synthesizers and drum machines and all that kind of thing. So we put some elements in it while not trying to overdo it.
I'm always curious, with every big country release, there's a lot of discussion about what's country, what's authentic, what's allowed in some ways, even in the genre. It sounds like you guys like having the boundary opened up a little bit more.
Well, we've certainly always pushed it from the time, because when we first debuted and first came out, we kind of came out at the end of the boy band craze, And so everybody kind of thought we were, and it's like, man, we don't dance. Right. And we play and everything.
What's it like to be confused with a boy band?
Yeah, right. Well, it's just funny.
I wish somebody would confuse us as a boy band now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I got this.
It's just funny. We'd come into the
one.
one shows and be like, oh my God, Blink 182 is here.
Right, right.
Be like, no, no, it's us,
It's
Rascal
us.
Flatts. But it's, we've seen it all change, and it's just, it's, it's just been crazy, man, to see how everything has evolved.
It's funny if you go back and listen to our first couple of records, like we were derided by all of the critics as being way too pop for country, and,
Right.
and now it sounds like a George Strait record.
Yeah.
Now everybody talks about how it's going back to sort of traditional sound.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, we've always pushed the envelope, but I remember the first time it was like, Bon Jovi is on country radio. It was like so weird. And then it was like, is that Nelly?
Right.
Nelly?
Yes, it was.
You know what I mean? It's like, and they're talking, what?
Right.
So it's great. Now it's, I think the doors are wide open, and country music is really great for just opening their arms and saying, come on, let's try it, where other genres aren't as quick to go, yeah, come on, and,
Right.
we want Rascal Flatts to make a rap album.
Right.
I do.
That was also one of the comments on the iTunes page.
Was it? Okay, yeah.
Well,
Not enough rap. No rap.
So the album's called Back to Us. I'm curious, there's also a song called Back to Us. When did that become the album title? Why is it the album title? Where did that all kind of arise?
Well, that's an interesting story, actually. That we were struggling to find a title for this record, and there's a line in that song that says, "I want to run straight back to us, baby." And the head of promotion at our record label came to us and he said, "Hey, I got a great idea for the album title because this feels like such familiar Flats music to me. How about you call the album Back to Us?" And we're like, "That's great, but there's not a song called Back to Us." And he said, "Well, here's what we'll do. We'll go back to the writers and we'll ask them to change the name of Stranger's Bed to Back to Us."
So it was originally called
The song was originally called Stranger's Bed.
And they were amenable to the decision, obviously.
Well, it's like, if you want to cut on the record, you're going to change the name.
Who doesn't want a title cut?
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. I think a lot of people are also considering the title in the way that you just mentioned, that it's a little twofold. It sounds like it's you guys going back to an older sound. It's also a song about a relationship. When did you guys sort of fall in love with that? Like, was it immediate when he said, "Look at what we could do with this little trick"?
I think it was immediate because we were playing some email tag then and really trying to we're down to the wire, like trying to figure out a title. And it just felt like it was right, And when the writers decided, yeah, totally cool, change the title to Back to Us, we're like, that's got to be it. And then, it's twofold. It's trifold if you want. I mean, it means a lot of things to us personally, and then also for the fans. It's
Right.
I think they can hear it in the body of work when they listen to it from front to back.
And the writers are really good friends of ours. We write with them all the time. So it was as simple as picking up the phone, and even Carrie Barlow said, "Man, we should have named it that to begin with." So it was great, and it felt like the right thing to do,
I like that. A lot of groups obviously do not make it to 10 albums. That's enormous. What does it feel like to be here, launching another project, still sort of like in the heat of a big career?
Wow.
It's pretty. It's incredible. At first you just want to have a single on the radio and hear yourself, and then, once things start happening, you're like, man, I want a gold record, and then you want, man, I want a platinum record, and then all that. So to be 10 albums in and to have this long, it's so far exceeded our thoughts and goals and hashtags and Twitters and all, it's great.
Gary said this year he was actually going to finally start paying Jodan and I, so.
Yeah, there you
It's
go.
really great.
I figured they've earned it after this amount of time.
Yeah,
You know,
they put in some work
this year.
finally.
Yeah.
We're going to move out of our one-bedroom apartment. I'm finally going to get a place of my own, and
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm curious, like, what your relationship is with some of the older songs. Like, after performing, like, Bless the Broken Road for, like, 15 years, does it... right, but, like, does it change meaning? Does your relationship with it change? Like, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, we know how big of a song we didn't in the beginning. You know, we had no idea that the impact of the Broken Road would be and be a part of so many people's weddings and the biggest night of their life. You know, we've been a part of their biggest day. So it just, I mean, I think we always take that into consideration when we're singing it, even though we don't really feel like singing. But we know what the impact of that song, and it's such a blessing to have a song, you know, that's timeless music, because that song laid around Nashville for 11 years before we cut it.
Right.
And was cut by 2 other artists, and so it's just, that's the longevity of a great song, and that, as an artist, is what you try to cut, is timeless music. So, you know, that song is bigger than us.
Yeah, and like Gary's saying, we're grateful to have those kinds of songs that people want to hear, you know. I always hated going to see a band, one of my favorite bands, live, and they wouldn't do their biggest sons because that's an artistic. It's not where I'm at right now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's the reason I came to the show. Better get your ass up here and play Don't Stop Believing.
Yeah. Someone should put you in touch with Tom York from Radio
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't really feel like playing that one right now. It's not where I'm at artistically.
We talked about this also a little bit earlier, but you guys are heading back to Vegas for your 3rd residency this fall.
Yeah.
What do you guys like about sort of being in one place for a month at a time, or going back to Sin City for all of this?
You can stumble from the bar to your room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's much closer.
And sleep in.
Yeah, and sleep in and play golf. It's so great to be in the same place because the sound's dialed in, the lights are dialed in.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about any variables, and the crowds are always great because they've spent their money to come see you. So they hang on every word. They're into every note that you sing.
And our wives and our kids love it.
Right.
You know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Wives always.
Yeah,
like,
I've
come
got to
on.
go get
Yeah.
my 5-year-old son out of the casinos at like 2 or 3 in the morning. It's weird.
Unless he's up big, then you let him
Right.
stay.
Well, he's just so happy because he can smoke in there.
Right.
Yeah.
You know? So it's
love
all the
Vegas.
kids are doing it. It's great. Fantastic. They're in there vaping. Yeah.
It's the healthy alternative.
Yeah, right.
You guys are also playing a bunch of festival dates. Are you talking about launching another big tour in 2018?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got something in
We
the
are.
works. We've already been working on it.
That's the plan.
You guys actually have like an enormously successful track record when it comes to openers. Taylor Swift has opened for you. Jason Aldean has opened for you last year. Kelsey Ballerini, who is obviously enjoying big success now. Who are you listening to that's kind of up and coming that you're really inspired by?
Tim McGraw, a guy named Tim McGraw we've been looking at.
Love Garth Brooks.
yeah.
Garth is great.
He's on the short list.
Yeah, he might have a shot.
Yeah.
We're kind of on the fence, but,
Yeah.
you know, I don't
Sold
know.
to Flats.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that are coming up that we love. So Dan and Shay, love those guys.
Lauren Elena.
We might as well take them out on the road because they've stolen our sound.
Yeah.
So, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you know, you're not kidding. Go on.
Dan and Shay. Lauren Elena is
Yeah,
incredible. Love her.
We have a
so much.
duet, you know, with her on the record. And
That would just also be convenient.
yeah, which would be nice. So if you're listening, Dan and Shay, Lauren, let's make it happen.
Have your people call our people.
it up.
Get it together, okay?
You know, just to end, I want to talk about you're almost 20 years into a career, 10 albums. Like, we talked a
I
little
thought you were
bit.
going to say we're almost 20 years old. I know, and we're so excited about turning
Airbrushing, obviously.
Turning 20. Yeah.
Why do you keep talking about how long we've been around? I'm gonna
It's
get my
amazing.
feelings hurt.
Congrats, great.
You guys are
Um,
almost 470 years into a career combined between the 3 of you.
But I'm curious how
Andor's
your
both
goals
you guys
shift.
out here.
Our goals shift.
Yeah, like when it's like what you said earlier. At one point, all you wanted was a song on the radio.
Right.
Like, what is the goal now?
You know, I think it's just to continue to just put out the best music that we can and be able to tell your story and your story and your story and your story as songwriters and as artists, you know, and to be able to tell ours, you know, it's because it gets tougher and tougher to be able to talk about love and breakups and all that and say it in a way that's different and fresh. That's the key in being creative. So we love pushing the envelope. So I think with just being able to create timeless music and be able to go and perform live. I mean, I feel like that's what God gave us the platform to use our talents for, was to showcase the abilities that He's given us, and that will always be, you know, the first and foremost. And, you know, love seeing our fans. I mean, you guys are everything to us and the reason why we create and make music. So that's probably the nearest goal.
I like that. And that's all from me. We're going to take a few questions from the audience.
Sweet.
Hey, guys.
Hey,
Hey, my son is dead set on being a musician. And
Uh-oh.
I try to tell him all the time, talent is wonderful, but you also have to be a strong businessman as well. Obviously, you guys are as well. Can you help me get this message through to him and to all the other aspiring musicians out there?
And how old is your
great
son?
question.
He's how old? Sorry.
17.
He's good age. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
the best thing I think for any aspiring musician is not to have a fallback plan, not to have a plan B. That's what kept me going. Like all the way through high school, my guidance counselor would be, you know, the music business is really, really tough. You might want to go to college and get a degree in something. But I figured if I had a safety net, I would rely on it too much. So I had nothing else lined up. I wanted to make it in music, and nothing was going to stop me. And I think it was a lot the same way for these guys right here. It goes against conventional wisdom, but I didn't have a plan B, and I didn't want a plan B because it was all I wanted to do.
And you know, the other thing, too, even like with us, you have to surround yourself with great people.
Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome, bud. And
Thank you.
and we needed a lot of really smart people around us.
Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome, buddy. But I mean, that's the other thing, you know, is that like if pop or rock, you know, you need to move to, if you want to do country, you have to move to Nashville, but you have to surround yourself with great people that can actually show you the ropes and kind of carry your hand, because, you know, as an artist, that's all you want to do. It's like, I want to be on stage, I want to sing, I want to do that. But once you start getting into it, you go, oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, we're like presidents of this company, right? And this branding and all that kind of stuff. So you really have to be surrounded by great people. Great question.
Right here.
Yeah, hi, Gary J. Jodan. Before I get my question, I just want to say that thanks to you guys, you guys are the reason that I began to play the guitar 10 years ago.
Oh, nice.
Now, I'm not trying to be a professional musician because I'm nowhere near as good as you guys. But, Jodan, my question for you is, when working on the solos for like Life is a Highway, do you have any advice you can offer someone like me or someone like her son in how to really perfect those solos the best you can with as much practice as possible?
Yeah, that's another great question. You know, we're all musicians up here, obviously, but we spend a lot of time just what we call woodshedding. You know, you go back and just practice. You run scales. You get familiar with them to where you don't have to think about it anymore. You just play. But for solo sections, something Jay does as well. We kind of learned this from Dan Huff, a producer from quite a few records of ours in the past. But sometimes you want to sit down, put your guitar down, look over a solo section, and sing something. Just sing it. And when you sing it and the right notes are there and it feels right and it's singable back, becomes kind of hooky in itself. And then you try to play it on guitar or what other instrument you're trying to play to get a solo in.
Flute.
Flute, if you're a flautist. But that's a cool way to do it, is to sing it first and grab the guitar, and you might go somewhere it's not so familiar, like a scale you're used to. You'll try to have to find the melody. And but to really answer your question, just you got to keep doing it. You got to keep practicing a lot. They always say the first million hours is a bitch, and then after that, everything's easy breezy. But it's true. It's like you got to put in the time.
And then we have one final question.
Hey guys, so with the new album, I was wondering, like, which of the songs did you enjoy writing the most, and also, that you hope that fans would also enjoy?
Well, I'm going to field this one because everybody needs to hear I Know You Won't. It's one of the best moments on the record, not because I had anything to do with it, but simply because it's the most vulnerable, transparent, emotional vocal that I've ever heard Gary deliver. And I remember being in the studio listening to him sing that song, and I was so moved. And I know he had to get tired of me asking him to sing it over and over again, because every take there was something different that came out of him that was mesmerizing. And when we put the strings on it and it all sort of started coming together, Jodan was sitting beside me, and I leaned over and I said, "Man, we don't need to sing on this song at all." And so you'll hear on that record that beautiful ballad. There's only one time in the last chorus we sing a couple of oohs, but we get the hell out of his way and let him deliver that song, because it's truly amazing.
Yeah. And maybe the one we wrote together.
Are You Happy Now?
The Happy Now ballad.
With Lauren Elena?
Duet. We wrote it like 4 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, we didn't write it as a duet.
Yeah.
We just wrote it because we just loved that idea, that song, the angst behind it, you know.
And listen to the bass track on that one. It's
the bass
really,
guitar is
it's
really,
really
high.
amazing.
Yeah,
Piano part's great too.
Turn down the treble and roll up the bass,
yeah.
and you'll hear it.
You guys, thanks for being here. Back to Us is out now. All the tour dates are on their website.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.